Okay, here's the setup, yeah. In 1988, Thomas Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard were very fierce rivals. It came to a stage in their careers where both of them had 3 titles apiece. Thomas Hearns, he beat Pepino Cuevas for the welterweight title. He beat Wilfred Benitez for the light middleweight title. He beat Domingo Roldan? He beat Roldan for the middleweight title. 3 belts. Sugar Ray Leonard, he beat Wilfred Benitez for the welterweight title. He beat Ibe Kaluli for the light middleweight title. He beat Marvin Hagler for the middleweight title. 3 belts apiece. The rivalry was very real at the time, and in 1988 they were both vowing to collect their 4th title. There's 3 days in between their fights at super middleweight. Thomas Hearns, he took on James Kinchin for the vacant WBO title. Okay? He won a close points decision after getting floored. Kinchin got tested for, was it some PED? I'm not going to say which one it was. He was one of the first boxers who ever tested positive. The other one was Robert Bam Bam Hines around that time there. More useless trivia for you. So, Hearns, first man to win 4 titles. Hey! Good stuff. Leonard, massive ego, which made him a great fighter, but also made him a bit of an annoyance at times. That's the right word, of an annoyance. He didn't want to get outdone by Hearns, so he says, well, Tommy, you win 4 titles, I'm going to win 5 titles. So, the WBC, they decide to start courting the super middleweight division, the division that they've basically ignored for at least 4 years. The IBF had not really the first super middleweight champion, when I think about it, you know. I think Murray Sutherland was the first super middleweight champion for the IBF. But, you know, I've done a little research, and Gene Fullmer, who beat Sugar Ray Robinson a few times, he actually fought for some kind of super middleweight belt back in the day with some alphabet soup organization that I've never seen or recognized before. So all this shit is not that new, people. Do the research. All this title belt here, it's not new. Go look at Sugar Ray Robinson's box rec. You see some Pennsylvania middleweight title. What the fuck's that? Eddie Cotton, he had the light heavyweight belt, but a state light heavyweight belt. The Michigan State World title is what Eddie Cotton had. And round about that time, the recognized champions would have been Harold Johnson, really good fighter, or Willie Pastrano, who round about that time outpointed Harold Johnson and took his title. One of them two would have been a recognized champion. When Gene Fullmer fought for that super middleweight belt I was talking about in the 60s, they were calling it a junior light heavyweight division. You know? So, you know, this shit has been a bit crazy for a little while. So the WBC conspired with Leonard. They decide to court the super middleweight division. And we can see how fucked up the WBC has been for a minute in correlation to today's events. Leonard and the WBC have this ingenious idea to make Donnie Lalonde the 175-pound champion. And Lalonde agrees to it as well. So, you know, he got paid a big fee. So don't feel too sorry for Donnie. Got paid a big fee. He didn't really need to fight after that. They make the light heavyweight champion, who fights at the stipulated weight limit of 175, emaciate his body to 168 pounds, which is the super middleweight limit. This allows Leonard to fight for the light heavyweight title and the super middleweight title in one bout. Leonard's never fought at light heavyweight, never. 2 for the price of 1. Leonard gets off to a little shaky start. Lalonde floors him. Lalonde is a power puncher. Leonard gets up. Lalonde, you know, you could argue the weight stunted him in terms of maintaining his fitness throughout the bout. He started to wilt. Leonard's class started to tell, and he stopped Lalonde late in the fight, maybe around the 10th round or something like that. He stopped him. So Leonard becomes a 5-weight champion. He's in the record books now as the first man to do that. Tommy Hearns later, he defeats Dennis Andres from the UK, very good light heavyweight champion. I think a WBC light heavyweight champion at the time he was. Dennis was actually a 2-time light heavyweight champion. Because after he lost to Tommy, he relocated to the Kronk Gym under Emmanuel Stewart and became, you know, quite a technically efficient fighter. And I think he beat Tony Willis for his 2nd title. He beat J.B. Williamson for the 1st title. I haven't got the box rec here. It's just some memory shit. Tommy floors Andres numerous times. Dennis was like a yo-yo in that fight. And it looked like Dennis floored Tommy late on in the fight. But, you know, by that time, he took so much punishment, man. And Tommy stopped Dennis in around 10 again. Don't quote me again, homeboy. You know what I mean? Around 10 or 11, he stopped Dennis. So, even though Leonard got the 5 titles on paper before Tommy, he didn't do it properly. He didn't do it properly. So I'm going to come out and say, in my opinion, the first man to win 5 titles at 5 different weights is Tommy Hearns. The only thing that gave Ray Leonard credibility at the time is the WBO didn't have no credibility. So when Hearns outputted Kinchin for the vacant title, people were saying, well, it's the WBO title. No one really recognized it as shit back then. But in hindsight now, it's a different story. They have credibility. And now we have this story here. History almost repeating itself. And I can't understand why Floyd is doing this, because it's not like he's going to actually gain another title. It's just another defense. What's the point? What is the point of doing this? If you're too scared to fight at 154, no catch weights, give the belts up. I'm coming out and saying it. I know you guys are going to be shocked that I'm talking against Floyd, but you know, I like boxing history. I like boxing history. I study it. I witnessed quite a bit of it from the 80s, and I have to be totally real here. So that's the setup. Here's the story. This is from www.badlefthook.com. Yo, I didn't defend Sugar Ray Leonard on this one, and I certainly ain't going to defend Floyd on this one. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman has approved Floyd Mayweather's request to defend his 147 and 150 pound titles on the same night against Marcos Maidana in their September rematch. This marks the first time since 1988 where 2 different WBC belts at 2 different weights will be on the line in the same fight. The last time was when Sugar Ray Leonard faced off against Donnie Lalonde to win the super middleweight title and light heavyweight title. This is also the latest move by the WBC to bend over backwards for Mayweather. The fact that this means Maidana could potentially win the 154 pound title while fighting at 147 pounds is absolutely atrocious. Suleiman spewed some garbage in rationalizing this decision by saying that because there's currently no mandatory challenger at 147 and 154 that no other boxer would be hurt by this decision. Try telling that to the likes of Canelo Alvarez, who would have been in line to fight for the vacant 154 pound title if Floyd decided to stay at 147, which he essentially has. Suleiman also mentioned some crap about how this decision allows them to show their loyalty to Mayweather, who they feel has always been loyal to the WBC in return. Why a sanctioning body would show any kind of loyalty to any particular fighter just boggles the mind and screams out conflict of interest, but such is boxing. What's more is that the very same request could be currently pending with the WBA, which potentially put a total of 4 belts on the line across 2 different weight classes. Don't even get me started on what this means for the kind of gloves that Maidana will be allowed to use for the fight. 8-ounce gloves, 10-ounce gloves, Everlast, MX or Power Lock? Question mark. I'm completely in over my head. Look, man, I don't really give a shit about the gloves. You guys, you know what I mean? You can make a big deal about the gloves. I don't give a shit about the gloves. The weight thing, no. Not buying it. Not buying it. Not buying it. I try not to join the bandwagon on the Floyd Mayweather hatred propaganda. I try not to, and I'm not going to either. But this move here, it's not cool. Mayweather fans who tried to support this,
now you know you done fucked up.
Mauricio Suleiman, you know better than your daddy. And I think, I don't know, I think it's best just to watch boxing, ignore the belts, and just watch the match for what it is, I think, really, basically, because it's just getting stupid, you know? WBC are a joke. And this move by Floyd is pitiful. Well, I mean, what's he doing? Well, I don't get this at all. How does Maidana get a shot on 154? He's never fought there. Or he may have done, but in no bout that's consequential to the 154 ratings today. This is ridiculous. We have a 50-year-old taking on a scary power puncher unifying the belts. And Floyd's doing this. Come on, man. Dude, you know what I mean? TBE? Not right now. Not right now. After this fight, he has to do something new, clear, to be placed anywhere up there right now. I mean, right now we have a 50-year-old light heavyweight ready to take on a scary, power-punching belt holder, undefeated, no weight clauses, no 2 belts in one fight, no gimmicks, just old-fashioned World Championship light heavyweight boxing. So this one here, nay, bro. Nah. Can't fly with this one. And the reason I'm saying this hurt Sugar Ray Leonard's standing back in the day. It did hurt his standing. After he beat Hagler, he was up there with the boxing gods, and he still is to a degree. Yeah? But it hurt his standing. And all I can say after this one, at 147, Thurman, Porter, or Pacquiao, or you take on any of the light middleweight belt holders, no weight clauses, no nothing. Anything else after this is bullshit. I'm on the line here.